Oh, that's really good.
We are in Mostar, a hotspot for amazing Balkan cuisine. So in this video, we're gonna walk you through the best food and iconic dishes you need to try when you visit Mostar. Let's go.
Mostar is one of our favorite cities, and we couldn't believe how much we ended up loving Bosnian cuisine. In this food tour, we're exploring the iconic tastes of Mostar, dining everywhere from upscale restaurants to local shops. Our first stop on the food tour takes us to a highly rated restaurant along the river, which is well known for its authentic Bosnian dishes, as well as its unbelievable views of the main icon of the city, the Stari Most Bridge.
So our food just came out, and I wish you had smell-o-vision because this smells absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to dive in. I ordered a dish called Cevapi. It's very classic in this region. It's made of mixed meat, which they almost have pressed into little sausages here, and it comes in a pita wrap that's called a lepinja, and it looks to be homemade, so I can't wait to dive into this. They actually just came back out, and they gave us some sauce on the house. This almost looks like a tzatziki, maybe some feta cheese in there, so I'm really excited to dip into this. They also brought us out some free tap water, which might seem trivial, but in Europe, you usually pay for water when you're at restaurants, and what we've been noticing here is it seems like water is more expensive than beer at a lot of restaurants, so very appreciative of that kind gesture. We've been so impressed with all the people we've met in Mostar, just absolutely so kind. That aside, I'm going to dive into this meal. All right, here goes. Wow. I don't know why I was expecting it to be more of a sausagey taste. It's definitely more of a grilled meat, and there's definitely some subtle spices in there. It's not spicy like a kielbasa sausage, but it definitely has that nice full flavor to it. It almost is like a smokiness without being overpowered with smoke. That's really nice. I'm gonna go for some of the bread now here. So I got the bread here. I'm gonna dip it in some of the sauce. It's almost like a spiced pita wrap. I feel like pitas usually have a really neutral flavor, and this has a bit of spice to it. So it really adds a bit of flavor, almost a bit of charriness to it. And with the sauce on there, it adds that creaminess you get from the tzatziki or some Greek dishes. I can't tell you how happy I am to be here. The food's great, the views are great, and I'm sure Courtney's antsy to dive into her, so I'm gonna pass the mic to her.
All right, and so for my dish, we got some more classic Bosnian food. This was actually listed, I think, as the Herzegovina mix on the menu. I think I'm saying that correctly, but essentially we just saw the picture and said we wanted to try that, so that's what we got. It looks like there's a combination of a couple of different things here. There's what it looks like to be stuffed grape leaves. It could be stuffed cabbage. We saw stuffed cabbage on the menu as well. Stuffed pepper here. There's some sort of sauce, which looks a little bit different than the sauce that they brought out to us. And there's also roast potatoes, and it looks to be like a broth on this plate as well. I'm gonna jump around the plate a little bit here. All right, so diving into the stuffed grape leaf stuffed cabbage first. We haven't tried anything like this yet, and it looks actually similar to the stuffed cabbage that we had earlier, at least the stuffing does, but obviously with a different casing. I'm gonna get a little bit of this cream sauce here as well. That's really good. It almost seems like the leaves were soaked in the broth, or at least the bottom of the leaves are really soaking up the flavor of the broth. I'm gonna dive into the stuffed pepper here to see how that compares. And once again, the filling of the stuffed peppers is similar to like the stuffed cabbage here. It seems to be a combination of meat and rice, kind of like how you would make stuffed peppers at home, I guess. Oh, that's really good. It's kind of funny. I was expecting this dish to be a little spicier, but it's more just cozy and savory. Going in for a potato bite here too. Yeah, those really soak up the juices of the broth too. Really good. We definitely knew coming to Bosnia we were going to be hit with a lot of plates of meat. Typically we're not huge meat eaters, but I think what's really selling us on these dishes is they seem to use a lot of vegetables as well. So it's really balancing out our palate. We're coming from Slovenia where they ate a lot of kielbasa, which was amazing, but I'm glad to balance it out with a little bit of veggies here. And one thing to note about this restaurant is it's cash only. We've definitely seen some places that take card here, but definitely ask ahead of time whenever you're finding a restaurant here because it's kind of a mix. What's good to know is this place at least takes euros and they give you change back in euros. So if you're not looking to take out a bunch of Bosnian money before you come here, that's a nice little perk. So we just finished our meal here, and I know in food tours we tend to be excited about every dish because genuinely we are excited about every dish. It's so fun to run around and try what the world has to offer. But I really want to stress how great this restaurant was. First of all, the staff was so kind. They gave us waters on the house, dip on the house, had some conversations with us, and we heard them being friendly to every table here. The view is absolutely incredible, and it was pretty easy to secure a spot out here as well. Though in busier seasons, you might need to make reservations. And Michael and I both agreed that the Cevapi that we tried is one of the best bites we had on our over 1 month trip so far. So yeah, just wanted to convey how awesome this place is and how happy we are.
And if Courtney's comments didn't sum up how much we love this place, they actually just came out and offered us a complimentary liqueur. They said this is stuff you can't buy in stores. You have to either make it yourself or know someone that makes it yourself. So mine is a walnut liqueur, Courtney's is a cherry, and they toss a Bosnian toast, which literally translates to life. So, to life. That's really interesting. It's really sweet, and it's almost sticky on the tongue, and it lingers more than most liqueurs I've had. That's really refreshing. It's almost the sweetness you'd expect of like a flavored schnapps, but a real genuine flavor. I think I do taste a little bit of walnut. I'm not a huge liqueur guy, but I actually really enjoyed that. That was really refreshing. I can't wait to have a bit more. Next on our food tour, we're heading through Mostar's Old Bazaar in search of another restaurant specializing in local dishes. Here, we're sitting down for some typical Bosnian staples, as well as an afternoon pick-me-up traditional Bosnian style. So I'm really excited. We've ordered a traditional Bosnian coffee, and it is such an experience when you order it here. So when you order a Bosnian coffee, it's actually served on a metal tray like this. I think it's bronze, and it comes with a couple of different things. You have a coffee cup without any handle. You have your main piece of coffee. You have 2 sugar cubes, a piece of Turkish Delight, and a cute little spoon, and there's a very specific order of operations for you to eat this. So we've done our homework, so we think we're doing this right. I believe you're supposed to scoop the foam off the top of the coffee vessel. Wow, that's thick actually. And put it in the bottom of your cup. And we've been told you're not supposed to stir the coffee because there's coffee grounds still in this vessel. So I've done the scooping. Now I think I move on to the pouring phase. All right, here goes nothing. Wow, that handle's pretty hot still. All right, now I guess we pour. And you're not supposed to pour all the way because the coffee ground should be at the bottom. All right, so now that we have the coffee poured, this is where the sugar cubes come in. So I believe you're supposed to dip the corner of a sugar cube in the coffee and then nibble that to get a little flavor before you have your sip. I'm gonna go for my first bite here. Never had a bite of coffee before, so this is an interesting experience. As Courtney will tell you, I love sugar. Here goes nothing. Wow, it is so bold and not at all bitter. It's got a ton of flavor without having that acidity you normally expect a coffee. And I was really expecting it to be bold and bitter, and it is just all around just warm and flavorful without any of that acidity. That's really good coffee. I also really love just that it's a whole experience when you order a Bosnian coffee. It's so fun having all the steps to do. And even just look at the detail on the bronze plate and on the coffee vessel itself. It is so ornate and delicate. It really makes every sip that much better. I really like that. What a fun way to drink coffee. And so the last step in drinking Turkish coffee is they actually serve it with a piece of Turkish Delight. I've actually never had Turkish Delight before. The only thing I recognize it from is from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, but this looks pretty good. It looks just like a cube dusted in powdered sugar. So I'm gonna go for my first bite now that we finished off our coffee here. It's almost like a lemon meringue pie without the big burst of lemon. It's got like a jelly candy kind of consistency to it. Well, the powdered sugar's got a nice sweetness to it. It actually does pair pretty well after a coffee.
All right, so our dish has arrived, and boy, are we excited. So this dish we are particularly excited for. This is shakshuka, and we actually make shakshuka all the time at home. But honestly, we've only made shakshuka for ourselves. We've never had it out to eat. So we're extremely excited to try a traditional shakshuka to see how it's really supposed to taste. So for those of you that don't know, shakshuka is a tomato-based dish, usually with some vegetables in it. And typically what you do is you break eggs and drop them straight into the veggie dish and then cook them somehow. We tend to cook them on the stove. It looks like here they bake them because this plate is pretty hot. And in the dish, it looks like we have some peppers, some chickpeas, some carrots. I think there's some onion in there. So I am really excited to dive into this. I think I'll go with a tomato stew bite first. Wow, the vegetables in there are so tender. You can tell they definitely take some time to cook those all the way through. And almost tastes like a stew. For another veggie bite here. Oh my gosh. I think that was some eggplant I had. It just falls apart in your mouth. And it's actually less spicy than I was expecting. We make ours a whole lot spicier actually. So I got a good egg break here. We tend to try to soft cook the eggs whenever we make it. It looks like they cook it to be a little bit more runny than soft, which is interesting. So it kind of broke apart in the stew here. I'm gonna go in for my first egg bite. Wow, that's really flavorful. And it looks like they have some fresh cracked pepper on top of the egg. That is so, so good. I think we might have to step up our game.
So I got a traditional Bosnian dish that we were told you have to try while you're here. It's called Dolma, and it's the Bosnian variety of stuffed peppers. I believe it has shredded beef and spices inside these peppers, and it's cooked in this very, very runny, almost beef brine sauce. So it's almost got a soupy texture to it. The side here has mashed potatoes, which looks like cottage cheese and lettuce on top, and it's all paired off with a slice of bread on the side. So I am really excited to dive into this. I'm gonna go for my first bite here. Wow, that pepper is really tender. You don't even need a knife to cut that. Here goes nothing. Wow. It's not a hot spice, it's more like a flavorful spice. With the sauce almost reminding me of like a goulash you might expect in Hungary or Slovenia, but it's really tender and has that tomato beefiness to it. I'm gonna go for a potato bite here, and I love how the potato just mixes in with that tomato sauce. That might be one of my favorite bites. It's not a finely mashed potato. It's actually got some chunks of potato in there, so you can really kind of tell it's still a potato. It's just like a warm hug. It's got the right amount of spice in there to give you some flavor without making you melt your face off. I really like this dish. And I'm glad they gave us the bread here on the side, because I'm realizing we don't have a spoon, and I think we're gonna want every drop of this.
Our next stop on the food tour is taking us to a rooftop restaurant, known for its family-style dishes and its amazing view of the city's famous Crooked Bridge. We cover the Crooked Bridge and so much more in our top things to do in Mostar video, so be sure to check that out if you're interested in seeing the other great things this city has to offer. After ordering, we got to experience one of the famed sounds that's typical in Mostar.
So one of the things we love about Mostar is the city is just dripping with culture. So right now, I don't know if you can hear it behind me, but they're actually over the intercoms at the mosques are playing their call to prayer. This happens about 5 times a day here in Mostar, and it just creates this unbelievably tranquil and serene atmosphere. We're sitting down to dinner right now, and it just is such a lovely experience. So our platter just came out, and this looks way better than we were expecting. It is so colorful, and there are so many different dishes here. Some of these we're recognizing from other dishes we've had. We have the dolma, which is the stuffed peppers down here. We have the stuffed cabbage leaves, but there's a few new things in here that we're really eager to try. So inside of here, there's a stuffed onion somewhere buried under here, I believe. There is a traditional beef patty, which we're told is a classic Balkan dish the way it's prepared. And there's also this vegetable sauce on top, which our waiter said that his mother even makes. So all in all, this looks incredibly authentic and smells absolutely amazing. So I can't wait to dive into this. So we're gonna, I guess, just portion this out here with these tongs they provided. I don't know if there's a graceful way to do this. Hey, Mr. B, get out of here. So I've got a couple things on my plate here I'm really excited to try. I was able to get the beef patty right here. I'm gonna go in for my first bite and see how it is. Here goes. It's not at all like a hamburger. I feel like normally you'd expect there to be a char or beefiness to it. It almost tastes a little bit more like a sausage patty. I know that's not the best way to describe it, but it doesn't have that hamburgery taste to it at all. Very tender meat. It kind of melts in your mouth as you eat it, and really not at all greasy. I was kind of expecting this to be a lot greasier of a meat, and I'm pleasantly surprised with how it's prepared. All in all, it's really delicious.
So I think I found what he said is a stuffed onion, so I'm gonna pull that out here onto my plate and get a taste for it. A little messy, but it looks amazing. So I'm noticing already that it looks like they prepared the stuffed dishes a little bit differently. It looks like the beef is really concentrated in one portion of the stuffing, and then the rest of the stuffing is just rice. So let me get a little bit of everything in this stuffed onion bite here. So a little bit of onion, a little bit of rice, and a little bit of the meat as well. That's really good. The onion still has some crunch to it, and you can actually taste the rice versus the beef a little bit more in this portion. And all of it is coated in a really nice light tomato sauce too, which seems to be kind of the theme of some of the foods we've had here. I'm also gonna go in and try a bit of this vegetable sauce that he said his mom makes in the kitchen. See how that pairs with this. That's really good. It has a really bright orange color to it, and it definitely has a peppery taste. So I'm assuming that's mainly what the color is coming from. That is really light and fresh, and I like that they included the cream too, so we can bounce between that and the cream with these different dishes. Such a fun way to eat, just getting a big platter and going for it.
So as we're working our way through this platter, I think if you were coming to the Balkans, this is definitely the way to try sampling everything. We're amazed at how many flavors you get. So if you're day tripping or only in the region for a little bit, we highly recommend trying one of these platters because it gives you such a wide variety of flavors. You can work your way around the platter and get so many dishes in one. This is definitely the way to get the most bang for your buck and try the most things while you're in Mostar.
After our dinner, we wandered a few minutes from the restaurant to pick up a late night treat near Mostar's famous Starry Most Bridge.
So we're capping our first night in Mostar with a delicious treat of gelato. It's only about 75 degrees Fahrenheit out right now, so it's not like we're roasting. It just sounded really nice after a delicious meal. The running rate for a cone in this town seems to be €1, so all in all a pretty good price. It's almost too hard to pass up. I went with just the classic lemon flavor. I've already had a few licks already, and it's pretty darn good. I don't really know what else you can say about gelato, but I really enjoy it, and it's making me happy, so cheers. The next day, our quest for Bosnian food took us deeper into the city, where we were able to score another classic Bosnian staple, which is perfect fuel for me before I climbed one of the city's famous minarets.
So we just stumbled across the cutest little fast food shop for our breakfast. Here they pretty much sell only one thing, and that's this lepinja bread, which looks absolutely amazing. And we could tell it was homemade right in front of us. There was flour everywhere, and it was piping hot whenever she cut it and served it to us. There were a couple of different toppings that you could choose from this store. We decided to go with Kaymak. That seemed to be the most popular menu item. It's essentially clotted cream, sort of like a buttery cream as we understand it. And it's only made in certain parts of the world, the Balkans being one of them. So that's sort of our savory option here. And man, these look incredible. I am a huge bread person, and I absolutely love the bread that was served with our Cevapi last night. So I have a feeling I'm gonna love this, but let me dive in here. Oh my God. That is incredible. The filling kind of tastes like cream cheese in a sense, but it's definitely more milk and butter heavy. It's unlike anything I've tasted it before, and the bread is so doughy. It's still piping hot, and it has a really good butter crust and a spongy texture on the inside. Oh my gosh, that is incredible. And the ladies in there working were the absolute sweetest. We kind of stumbled upon this place. We're a little outside the main old town of Mostar, and so we were just looking for places with good reviews. We didn't have a clue what this place sold, but there were just a couple of good reviews with no pictures. So we highly recommend this place. They might be new to the area or something, but man, they serve amazing food, and the ladies in there were just so sweet. So definitely give them a stop by. You can only pay in cash inside, but they actually accepted euros. They just gave me change in the Bosnian currency, which is totally fine. And all of this food amounted to about €5, so pretty good.
So as Courtney mentioned, they also had sweet options. It's the same lepinja bread, but we went with the hazelnut Nutella on there, and it looks amazing. One thing we're noticing is it was called fast food, and normally you think of fast food as being processed and not locally made. And the fact that everything here minus Nutella was made in-house, Bosnia totally gets fast food right. So I'm excited to dive into this. Here goes nothing. That is so delightful. It's almost like a doughier English muffin. And what's not to love about Nutella? That actually pairs really well together. In addition to the toppings we got, they also had meat options you could put on here. So if you're looking for something more filling, there's definitely options at this place. 10 out of 10 worth checking out.
Next, we returned to our Airbnb to sip on a local drink with an amazing view from our private terrace.
So one of the things I love doing when I travel is to try the different sodas from around the world that aren't just your standard Coca-Cola. For those that saw our Peru series, you saw how much I loved Inca Cola. So it's one of the things I just enjoy doing when we travel. So we picked up the Sky Cola. We've seen it all around Mostar, so I've been itching to try it. When we were in the supermarket looking for sodas, there were a couple other flavors of this. I think they even had a lemon soda. There might have been orange soda, possibly a blue one if I'm remembering correctly. We went with the standard Coke because it was on sale, I think about 60 US cents. I'm gonna crack into this here. I can't think of a better spot to try this than this beautiful view from our balcony. Ooh, it's kind of tough to get off. All right, Sky Cola, here we go. What can I say? It's a cola. Honestly, if you were to have me close my eyes, compare this and Coca-Cola, I don't know if I can tell you the difference. I think they're pretty similar colas, but if you're a cola connoisseur, you gotta check it out. Cheers. And for those who want to know a bit more about where we're staying in this amazing Airbnb and this unbelievable view of the bridge, we'll link up here another Mostar video of ours where we walk through the entire interior and exterior layout. If you like this food tour, be sure to like this video and subscribe to see our other videos from Mostar, Europe, and all over the world. Those little actions really help out our channel. It means a lot to us. Next, we're heading back to Croatia to visit the walled city of Dubrovnik. Then we're exploring Montenegro and several spots throughout Greece. So be sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.